Time to talk horse racing on Prime Sports Network. And it's a Saturday. Normally the racing is on Saturday. This week, because of the holidays, we are recording on Saturday. And we are recording for races on Monday, the 26th at Santa Anita. The Malibu Stakes is the big race that we're going to be handicapping. We also will do the American Oaks. How's it going, guys? John?
Good.
Chad, you comfortable?
Happy holidays.
Yes. Happy holidays to everybody out there. Merry Christmas as well. We are on Christmas Eve.
New York. I'm glad we're doing races in California. It's pretty cold.
Yeah, no, that's the case. It's must be nice to turn the TV on and watch races from California, right?
Better if we were there.
Yeah, that would be true. All right, so just a quick recap of last week. And Chad, you hit both races last week.
Yeah, the norm.
You had the $100 show bet on 12th man. That paid $135. And the Alex Robb Stakes, you hit with Seafoam to place and the show. That totaled out over $200.
There you go. Follow Chad. He's the man.
He did not. So keep that in mind. Handicapping, very important. This is a lesson. Chad made money last week and didn't. And on his picks, the winning picks, none of his winning picks were for win bets.
Nobody made winning bets. There's a difference.
That's the difference.
Okay.
All right.
Let's hit the road.
Let's start off with the 10th race at Santa Anita. This is the big one of the weekend at Santa Anita. If you still consider Monday a weekend, and I guess for Christmas it is, it's the Malibu Stakes, a 7-furlong race, $300,000 purse for 3-year-olds. The defending champ, Flightline. That shows you how big this race is. It's also a big one for Chad. Chad, I have to ask you, mind your biscuits, who won this race in 2016. Were you assistant trainer at the time?
What?
How come on the winning, I looked at the winning results for Mind Biscuits, it has Falcone on it.
Yeah, the horse was with Rob Falcone. We spent a month out there. It was a good time. We beat 3 Bob Baffert horses. Should have been 4. Dre Fong was out of running in the race.
So what was that? Was Falcone like the lead trainer at the time?
Yeah.
And then you took over?
It's complicated, but sure.
Okay. We won't get into it today.
I don't think that's the way it went, but okay.
All right. For another show. City of Light was actually the last horse that won here that wasn't really considered a favorite. So a lot of favorites win here. Maybe that's John's strategy. We'll get into that in a little bit.
No, I only picked the horse that's going to win for fun in a stupid race. But other than that, I have no complaints.
Easy, fella. Easy.
Let's start with the one, Forbidden Kingdom. And Forbidden Kingdom, something happened at Forbidden Kingdom in April. Because he missed 6 months after that race. He had back-to-back 9s, then he had a 16 in April, John. Came back in October with a 14. Next race was a 10, so that was good. So he's making his way back, but the problem is he's 3-1.
And the 10 was on Lasix, and he's off of Lasix, so he's more likely to – he's not moving forward. The best you can hope from him is a 10. And if you're 3-1, you're not betting a horse in this race that's going to run a 10 because there's no value in doing that. And he's got the same shot as other horses that have bigger prices.
I mean, the thing with this horse, though, he's very important horse in the race because he needs the lead. He's a pace presence, especially coming from the rail. You know where he's going. He's sometimes uncontrollable. Juan Hernandez does all he can to stay aboard. And he's going to be a pace presence in what could be a very interesting strategy race here. When you're looking at how things are going to kind of develop and from that standpoint. And look, it's his 3rd start off the layoff. This was the plan from Mandela from since they gave him the time off after Santa Anita Derby. This is the race they've been pointing to. And for whatever it's worth, he was only beaten half a length last time by Got Her Number, who came back and was second in the Cigar Mile. I don't think that this horse is a winner, but there are things you can make cases for if you wanted to.
Yeah. Do you get concerned about the fact that he lost the lead in those last 2 races at 6 furlongs?
Well, if he's either going to win or he's going to lose the lead because he needs to be in front. That's his only way of running. And unfortunately here, there's other pace presence in the race, and I don't see him clearing. And if he clears, he's gone too fast. Okay. He won't be able to see out.
And he's a beaten favorite in his last 3 races. So.
Okay, next up, Messier. Is this the most overrated horse in the country? Messier 6-1. Baffert Velasquez combo. At least he's back to Santa Anita. That could be the only good thing here for Messier, John. Coming off a 30 and a 21 in his last 2 races.
Yeah, but he has excuses. For the 30, he bled last time out. Unfortunately, he's never been on Lasix. He's not going on Lasix for this race. And the 21 that he ran 2 starts back was a 1.25 mile race. He wanted no part of the distance. This horse is more of a concern to me than the 1 horse is. And not that I like this horse, but he's obviously going to make a forward move. He has 8s where the 1 only has 10s. He's twice the price, and he's Baffert.
I think his forward move is to occupy the 1 horse, Forbidden Kingdom.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a presence. I don't think he's very good. He bled. I honestly believe he's bled his last 3 starts. And I don't understand the point of running in this race other than to help Taiba, and ensure that there's an honest pace in front with Taiba cutting back from the 2 turns to the 1 turn. This horse should be – there are stake races you can run in with Lasix. You can go to Maryland. You can go to Arkansas. That's where this horse should be because he's a bleeder and he's running without Lasix again. There's no reason to think that he won't bleed again. He's bled. I honestly believe he's bled his last 3 starts.
Wow. All right. Apprehend is next to 3 horse. This is a horse I'm going to play at 8-1. Apprehend. Ramon Vasquez on board had a very good Del Mar meet this past season, and has been on board the last couple of starts. Has a 7 and an 8 in the last 4 starts, but also has a 15 and a 31. So, what do you make of Apprehend, John?
Well, I'm using this horse. Well, if I was playing exactas, I would use this horse underneath at 8-1. That's for sure. The 15 last time out was a ship to Zia Park, means nothing, and the 31 was off the 8. This horse could run a 7 or 8, but unfortunately, a 7 or 8 is not going to win this race.
I mean, look, he's 2 for 2 at Santa Anita. Peter Miller seems to get the best out of his horses. They run well when they're in his barn, but I just don't think he's good enough. I mean, look, we talked about this, before on different shows. This race is a race that's marred with top horses, and if you're going to tell me Apprehend is going to win the Malibu, I'm going to be surprised.
All right, next up is the 4 Nakatomi. Nakatomi is a 10-1 shot. Gaffalione on board, and when Gaffalione's on board, this horse has won 3 times and finished second once. This year, a 9, 10, and 9, John.
Yeah, but a 9, again, I don't think a 9 is going to win the race. A lot of horses in this race, most of them run between 8s and 10s with the exception of Taiba. So this is another horse in the race. He's never really gotten better than it from his 2-year-olds. As a 2-year-old, he ran a 10 and 11. This year he should be running a lot better. He's only running 9, so he may have reached the end.
This is the visual handicapping versus the sheets. To me, I've seen improvement from. Obviously, look, he was good last year. He won first time out for Wesley Ward and went to Royal Ascot and ran 4th in a second career start on the grass, which he's never been back on the grass again after that. The barn seriously considered running this horse in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last time. And when the race came up with a bigger field and they kind of weighed their options, they elected to go the allowance race instead. But they were convinced that he was much better than how he ran in that race 2 back in the Gallant Bob. And look, their track bias was towards the inside. It certainly played towards Taiba's kind of favor in the Pennsylvania Derby. This horse was 28 wide in the Gallant Bob. He came back. He ran a really good race on a Breeders' Cup undercard, and now he's here. And, he's a closing sprinter. This horse reminds me a lot of what Mind Your Biscuits did, kind of same thing. Ran second in the Gallant Bob, ran really good in the Breeders' Cup, and then came back and won the Malibu. I think he's improving. I think he's peaking at the right time, and I think there's enough speed in this race here to set up for his late kick. And I'm going to make Nakatomi my top pick here, and I think he can pull the upset.
Whoa.
Isn't it unusual? I mean, it's a strong start, 14, maiden win right off the bat. But isn't it unusual after just one race, Chad, to go to England?
No, that's
not for Wesley Ward. He does it every year.
Wesley Ward every year will kind of when the horses are getting ready to go to the to the track and they start breezing, he kind of selects the horses that he thinks are good enough or precocious enough to go there and compete in the 2-year-old races. He found for a while, and he won a lot of these races, that his style of training, he had an advantage. He had a leg up over the European horses running in those 2-year-old races at the prestigious Royal Ascot meet. Since then, the Europeans have kind of changed how they train. They train more like Wesley, and they've kind of caught up to him a little bit. I think he was winless with the 2-year-olds this year, but it's what he does. It's what he trains for. It means more to him to win at Royal Ascot than it does to win, at Saratoga or
Santa Anita.
But I think this horse is coming around the right way, and I think we're going to hear a lot from this horse next year, not only on Monday, but next year as well.
Okay, and now let's go to Hoist the Gold. And this is going to be another horse I'm going to play at 12-1. First time Rosario, so I like that. Up and down this year, John. What I like about the up and down is that if it keeps with this consistency, maybe we'll get a 7 out of Hoist the Gold. And I like the odds at 12-1 as well. You're talking about how many races this year? Like 8 races, and it's a step back, it's a step up, it's a step back, and so forth. But the last 2 races have been a 9 and an 8.
He's fine. The only thing I have against him is that he is heavily raced, and he got really good in the last 4 races. So it's a lot of development, I think, in a short period of time. But down the road, this certainly could be a nice horse.
Look, last year this horse stole the gold from Cyberknife when being put up to victory in that maiden breaking score. He then ran second over the summer at Saratoga behind Elite Power, who came back and won the Breeders' Cup Sprint. So he's certainly been in good races with good horses and holds his own. And at 12-1, definitely a horse you can use underneath because he's an honest horse that comes with his run. It's not good enough. I don't think he'll win, but he can definitely complete the minors.
Taiba, 6-5. This will be the heavy favorite. And again, if you look at the history of this race, the heavy favorites have all won recently, so maybe we'll see another heavy favorite. John, this is your top selection at 6-5. Bob Baffert, Mike Smith, Taiba.
Yeah, he can't lose. You're wasting your time trying to beat him. He's squeezed for this race. They think if he wins this race, he's going to win the 3-year-old of the year. That's what they think. And listen, no one else has a 4. No one else has a 5. Very few horses have a 7, and no one else has a 6. So if he runs any of the 4 out of his last 5 races, he's going to win this race for fun.
But John, all those races were around 2 turns.
Yeah, and this horse I think will be better around 1 turn. That's just my opinion.
To me, the problem that I have is this: 1, he's not a typical Bob Baffert kind of horse. He's not these speedy kind of run off early kind of horses that Bob Baffert loves. And Bob Baffert's been trying like heck to put speed into this horse. He works the crap out of him. And, I mean, they work fast, and he tries to get them faster and faster and faster. It's a conflict, though, here. He's running in this race to try and win 3-year-old of the year, which I don't think he can because I think everybody already voted in Epicenter 1. But in the back of their mind, they're trying to use this race as a prep for the 1 1/8 Saudi Cup. This will be his last race before he goes to Saudi Arabia. So you don't want to take too much out of him because he's going to stretch back out around 2 turns. The running style to me, and this is what I was talking about before with the 1 horse. Where does this horse sit, John? Do you think he's up close? Is he?
No, he's going to make a whooping move, a swooshing move from dead last. I really believe that from the back of the pack.
If he does that and he's next to Nakatomi, I'm not sure. I like Nakatomi better as a confirmed closing sprinter than Taiba, who's going to try and do something that he doesn't normally do. Look, he's not charlatan. I mean, there are horses that Bob Baffert can do this with.
Who's the horse that he had a few years ago that he cut back to 1 turn? I think he won on this day also. With
Charlatan.
Who?
Charlatan, and then he came and ran.
Oh, with an M. With an M. He was named after that nice guy, a friend of theirs that passed away from.
Mackenzie? No.
Who?
Mackenzie?
Yes, thank you. Mackenzie. Mackenzie came back and ran in a 1-turn race also and blew the doors off of the field. That's exactly who this is. Thank you, Chad. It's Mackenzie. Here's the problem I have with Nakatomi, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but Wesley Ward horses never improve with racing. You never see them run as 4-year-olds or 5-year-olds. All his horses, he squeezes early. He gets the most out of them, like he got before he sent his horse to Royal Ascot. Again, you want to bet him. He certainly could win. Don't get me wrong, but the 6 off of the figures is just very fast, Chad. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you on the norm on a Wesley Ward horse, but this horse seems to be the exception to the rule.
Okay, it could be. We'll find out. I like this horse 2 starts back at Parks. We did that race on the air, by the way. I gave this horse that, and he lost. So I'm mad at him. So I'm not talking to him.
I'm not all in on the Taiba train. I'm sorry. I haven't been. I think he runs best when he's fresh. I think even though, I guess it's probably 6 weeks between
November 5th to now is pretty fresh. No.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think that he's been breezing really, really hard. And I'm going to try and beat him here. If he wins, he wins. Look, he's going to be 1-5.
Big deal. He's going to be 3-5. You're not missing anything. Yeah,
correct.
That's why I didn't like this race. But listen, I just think he's winning. So what am I going to do?
All right, Perfect Flight. 12-1 is the 7. No single-digit sheet line numbers, on Perfect Flight, John.
Too slow.
I agree. But it is Peter Miller, so you never know.
The 8 is Strava. Strava is another horse that's kind of been up and down all year. Last race was a 10. That's the best we've seen from Strava. 15-1 shot getting Pratt for the first time, John.
He's going to need more than Pratt. He's a little slow.
Replace the T with a Y because they need to pray. They bought $825,000. They bought him when he broke his maiden, owned in part by former University of Louisville basketball coach Denny Crum. But this horse has kind of been crumbs. He finally won the 200 allowance race the other day. I think he improves on a sloppy track. I think he ran well last time because he got an off track. I just don't think he's that good. I think they overpaid for him when he broke his maiden. They're chasing to get their money back, and they're not going to get it back here. People are talking about him like he's a major contender in here, and I don't know why.
No rain in Southern California until next Friday, so he's not getting any rain. Sorry.
And then the final horse, the 9, is Straight No Chaser, a 20-1 shot, 4th start. And the last start happened to be at Santa Anita at 6.5 furlongs, ran a 10. Very good start in July with a 10. That was on turf. Bounced to the 19, John. That was a disaster. Came back with the 10 with the switch to the dirt track at Santa Anita.
Yeah, he's ambitiously placed. To run in this race in your 4th career start, I don't think so.
This is 100% owner driven by My Racehorse. And, they have 17,000 owners, so they just want to, run in these big races. But what they do by entering this horse is eliminate any chance that their other horse, Forbidden Kingdom, has, because they both need the lead. I don't understand at all the point of, Forbidden Kingdom needs the lead. Why are you going to put the other fastest horses in the race? Like, it just makes no sense. They're going to kill each other. And this is the interesting thing to me. Jonathan better hope that Mike Smith does take him back, because if he tries to be somewhat close, this horse could get in his way like a tiring.
But he can't get it. He can't be close. He's going to make a whoosh right around the far turn. There he goes.
All right. So we already know what John wants. 100 to win on the 6.
Chalky.
And Chad, you're going to put 50 to win in place on the 4. Nakatomi.
Yeah, 10-1. I would take 100 to lose on Taiba, but nobody wants to take that out. So.
Okay. And I'm going to do.
What did Chad do? I missed
50 win in place, Nakatomi, the 4.
Okay.
And I'm going to do $10.
Exacta box.
$10 exacta box.
Ooh.
3, 5, 6.
3, 5, 6.
And then 20 to win on the 3 and the 5.
3 and 5, 20 to win. Okay, brilliant.
I'll book that one too.
By the way, John, you do like the La Brea race, the stakes in this on this card, right?
I do.
Any particular reason you like to share?
I love a horse in there. Of course, I'll share. Baffert has 4 of the 8 horses in the race. I like the longest of the 4 that he has left, and that's Fun to Dream. I love that horse.
What was the horse's name again?
Number 6, Fun to Dream. You could take my 100 that I win on Taiba and go turn around and bet it all on Fun to Dream. The only problem is it's a reverse
Yeah, you
bet.
can't do that. Yeah.
The other race goes off first. But I love Fun to Dream. Freebie on the line for our listeners. There you
The
go.
Brea Stakes, number 6, Fun to Dream. I like it. All right, now let's go with the 11th race, a mile and a quarter, turf, American Oaks, Grade 1, purse 300,000. This is fillies and 3-year-olds. Oh, so this is that downhill stuff?
No.
Yeah, yes, they start up the top of the hill.
I
They
hate
cross
those
the
races.
dirt. They go, well, I love those races, but I hate this race because this is a hard race.
Yeah, this, if you win this race, you're making money. So let's keep our fingers crossed we got a winner on this one. There was a winner last year, but that's when they switched it from turf to dirt because of rain.
Because of rain that
Yeah,
day.
that was Queen Goddess. And
She sold for a ton of money.
yeah, Duopoly actually also paid 14 on a 6-1 shot in 20. So the last couple of winners of this race, not bad payouts. We'll start with the 1, Rhea Moon. The first 2 horses are decent contenders. Rhea Moon, they're both 8-1. Hernandez on board. This is a deep closer who struck it the last 2, coming from 5th place to win 11 in the last race, John. What about Rhea Moon?
What about Raymond? She's never been a mile and a quarter. She's going a mile and a quarter, and I don't like her in this spot.
Look, I think she's improved every time she's run. My concern to me, she's the true wild card in the race because I do think she can win the race. The problem is part of it is the way of her running style, but she's at her most comfortable on the outside. So when she makes these moves, she's 4 or 5 wide. She makes the quote unquote Taiba move. Going in the middle of the racetrack, whoosh, trying to run by everybody. She's on the rail today. She's always been drawn outside. So it's going to be interesting to see, if from a strategy, if they just kind of keep her under cover, save ground, and then try and tip her out, or what the strategy will be. But she has improved every time. I think she's a real wild card here.
The 2-horse Sparkle Blue is also 8-1. Rosario got on board last time in a grade 3 at Keeneland, got the win, so he's back on board. Also coming off an 11. So what about Sparkle Blue, John?
Well, he's similar to the 1. He looks a little slower. I mean, again, you have horses that are a lot of them that can run an 11. This is one of them. Motion does very well, by the way, shipping to Southern California. He had a good meet in the summer at Del Mar. He had a good meet last time out. This horse has never done anything wrong. She certainly has a chance. I like I like a different horse in the race, also shipping in from the east. But go ahead,
Chad. Why do you like the 1 over the 2?
I don't like the 2 at all. I think she's not much horse. I don't know that she's ever run well. She was a suck-up second in the Virginia Oaks when there was some traffic at the top of the stretch at the 8th ball. Otherwise, it would have been a different finish. And the win last time in the Valley View, I understand you can only beat who you beat, but she beat California Angel, who was everybody loved last year when she won in Kentucky Downs. She hasn't won a race since then. And Turner to Loose, who Brad Cox should go to the Hall of Fame for ever winning a great state race with that horse. So I don't think she's that good. I think she's dressed up winning the Valley View last time, and I don't think she's as talented as some of the other ones in here. And I don't think she's really improving much. I think she's run kind of the same numbers all year long.
The next 2 horses are big long shots at 30-1, Lady Clementine and Oakhurst. Anything you like about these horses, John?
No.
The 3 horses, the Frankie Dettori retirement tour is beginning. He rides for the first time in California. I don't think the horse has a shot, but he has announced that he will be retiring at the end of the year next year. So we wish Frankie the best. This is not the right way to start off the California meet.
By the way, Chad, he's on another horse, Country Grammar, for Baffert earlier in the cart.
Another one that's too slow.
Well, he doesn't want to go the short distance. But
faster horses, Baffert.
He is 6 to 5. He's 6 to 5 on the morning line. That's all I'm telling.
Also going to Saudi. He'll run against Taiba next time.
Yeah.
I don't like the 4 horse either.
Yeah.
He's just not.
D'Amato takes over, by the way. Chad Brown started with this horse and didn't get much out of it.
I will say this though. That filly, Oakhurst, she's okay, and I think she can win stake races in California. Phil D'Amato does a really good job. This is the wrong race for her, but I do think she'll win stake races this winter.
All right. The 5 is Bell Street Bridie, and this is a 4-1 shot. Mike Smith is on board. Pratt was on board last time out in a Grade 3 win at Del Mar, ran an 11 in that race, John. What about a Bell Street Bridie, who's got 4 wins in the last 5 starts?
He's a lot like the 1 and 2. The only difference is the 1 and 2 run steady 11s. This horse ran an 11 top.
And you're getting double the money on the 1 and the 2.
Exactly. So you answered your own question.
Look, first of all, the move to Mike Smith means nothing because Flavian Pratt's always going to ride for Chad Brown. Brad Pegram loves Chad Brown, so that means nothing. The thing that I don't understand is where that race came from last time. If she can repeat that, I agree with Jonathan. If she can improve off that number, then she's really, really dangerous in here. But her European races were not that good. And, before we used to say, well, you got the addition of Lasix and things change, but there's no Lasix. So I don't know where that race came from. And I'm gonna take a stab against thinking that she's gonna bounce off that big race. Has just the one work in between the 2 races, and I think she's gonna regress a little bit. But if she moves forward, she's probably the winner.
And no wins at 5 races previous at this distance. Now the other 4-1 next up is John's top play, and he's going with a Brendan Walsh trained horse who has the best sheet line in the race. All 4 this races this year have been better than the other. 20, 17, 12, and 9. So, John, this is your top play, the big one, the number 6.
Well, she ran the fastest last number. She's got time off. She's 4-1. She's first time Brendan Walsh. Brendan Walsh does well when he ships to California. And first time Gaffleone. So for all those reasons, I will be picking the 6.
My concern with this horse is she hasn't won in more than a year. She won her first 2 starts, and she's been winless since then. They've been ambitious. They've spotted her in some tough races, obviously running the Breeders' Cup as a 2-year-old, shipping back again for the Breeders' Cup this year against older horses in what was a really, really weird race where Joel Rosario tried to just kind of steal the race and set some crazy fractions. But she hasn't shown that she wants to win. And I know the race 2 back where she was second was an okay effort, and she just gets beat a nose. But I don't know. And then she comes from England. Then she goes from England to Florida, to Kentucky for the race. Then she ships to Florida. Now she ships to Santa Anita. Just a lot of moving around for a young 3-year-old filly. And Brandon Walsh normally does really, really good, but he's been on a little bit of a colder streak. And I just want to see what happens here. I'm going to take a shot against this one.
All right, next up, Chad's top play is Skims, the 6-1 shot. Velazquez on board, coming off a win and a 10. This is the most rested horse in the field. Ran that 10 on October the 15th. Actually, has got back-to-back 10s. Does seem to be improving and racing the best as far as the sheets are concerned, John, of Skim's career.
Yeah, she's fine. She's a 3-year-old. She's getting better. She's gotten better in the last couple of starts. She's got time off. McGahee doesn't ship to Southern California much. He shipped couple of weeks ago to run in the Hollywood Derby, and that turned out to be a disaster. The horse he had in, terrible ride, and I think he finished last. So he came back for another one. Good for him.
But I think that's the thing, Jonathan. You bring up an interesting point, though, right? So sometimes people look at stats and they'll be, this one ships and does well. In that situation, you're right. Shug never ships. He hardly ever ships to California. And you had a chance to watch the race and you say, okay, you know what? It was an awful ride from Pratt that day. You're not going to hold that against Shug's stat. So it's not, I shipped to California.
No, it wasn't Shug. It wasn't Pratt. It was actually Ramon Vasquez. Okay. Crystal clear. You remember that the fill? It was a fill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I think she's an improving filly. She's a daughter of Frankel. The distance should be no problem at all. Look, this is a mile and a quarter. Some of these horses haven't gone that far yet. I think she should have no problem with the distance. She's a very tactical filly, and I think she's very live in this spot.
The 8 is Pizza Bianca, also a 6-1 shot. Won the Breeders' Cup race last year. Has one win since then, but ran an 11 in that race, John. Has 3 11s this year, but also has a 13 and a 16. Got that 16 in England, 13 last time out in a Grade 1, finished 3rd. Trainer changed to Graham Motion. So Pizza Bianca seems to be like stalling a little bit. Maybe Graham Motion, maybe he can pick up the horse.
Well, we spoke about it last time when this horse was entered, and Chad and I both agreed that she didn't get any better at 3 than she was at 2. Chad, why the trainer change?
So Graham Motion has a string out there for the wintertime, so she ran out last time, and they just tried to agree to just kind of leave it with Graham for right now, since Christoph didn't have or want to have the staff out there for just one horse, where Graham has a string of horses. So it just
12 horses out here.
Yeah, it just kind of fit. It worked for all parties involved. Look, this filly was in the November sale and failed to meet a reserve, so nobody wanted to buy her, at least not for the price that they wanted for her.
Yeah, but they wanted a crazy price, no?
Well, maybe yes, maybe no. I mean, they put whatever number they want. I mean, Bobby Flay certainly doesn't need the money. He has plenty of businesses and things to keep him busy. But look, the problem with Pizza Bianca winning, and every time it starts, and take nothing away, that Breeders' Cup win last year was tremendous. Okay, so all the credit in the world to her. Great ride from Jose Ortiz that day. But all we do is every time she runs, we say Breeders' Cup winner. She's winless since then. She's been terrible this year. You know, we did our review show that'll come out soon and of the year, and we said most disappointing horse. She has to be on the contenders for most disappointing horse, because as good as she was in the Breeders' Cup last year is as bad as she's been this year. And I don't think, by the way, she wants any part of a 1.25 miles. The last time she won 1.1 miles, she was getting tired in a grade 3. I don't think the 1.25 mile stretch out's going to help her at all.
Well, if anybody wants to know who the disappointing horses of the year were for John and Chad, that show is coming out in the next 24, 48 hours. So we have our award show for 2022 that will be coming out real soon. So you can find out by tuning in. All right. The 9 is Salma. No, Salama. Is that an I in there? Salama?
Yeah.
7-2 shot, Proud on board, Chad Brown. And I don't see a lot of value here, John, at 7-2, and he's going to be bet up because of Brown and Pratt. He's only got 2 13s over the last 2 horses, East Coast horse, West Coast. What do you think about Salama?
He's, like you said, he's going to be way, way over bet. I'm not putting her on any of my tickets. Listen, it's Chad Brown. It's lightly raced. Obviously, she could make another forward move, but there is no value in using this horse at that price.
This is the one thing I'll say about this, though, and it's a credit to the Chad Brown program. He has this knack, especially for whatever reason with turf fillies, more so than any other division. He's had success in all different distances and boys and girls and whatever. But for whatever reason, he brings along his fillies, and he allows them to get better on their own. He's not rushing them. He's not running them to run them. He ran her first time out of Tampa, gave her a freshening, brought her back. Stephanie Seymour is very, very patient. It's Peter Brandt's wife, obviously the big owner in Chad Brown's barn, and they've allowed him to just take his time, and she's continued to get better. And her last race was visually a lot more impressive than the number was that she got. I thought she ran very good that day. She kind of made like an eye-catching move and was very, very impressive running through the line. And I understand there's no value, and there's not going to be any value with Chad Brown and Flavian Pratt. But to not have her on your tickets, I mean, there's a lot of money bet in those pick 3s and pick 4s and pick 5s on opening day at Santa Anita. It's always a big deal, and it's a big day. To leave her off your tickets just because she's going to be overbet, I don't agree with. I think you have to use this, really, even if you don't think she's going to win. She definitely has the ability to win for the right connection. So I think you have to use her on your tickets.
All right, the 10, and I'll do that, even though I'm not picking them. Duvet Day, a 20-1 shot, way too slow.
10 and 11 are both too slow.
10. Duvet Day. Chad, too slow?
Yes.
All right, the 11, School Dance, so too slow for John.
Look, the thing with the 11, this horse got beat for maiden $25,000 earlier in the year with Joe Orsino, who's a good trainer in Florida. But this is the thing. When you take horses from the east to the west, they get better. I just think the horses aren't as good on the West Coast, other than, maybe your Baffert turf horses. The turf horses just aren't as good. And this is a perfect example because she's done nothing wrong since being moved to the Phil D'Amato barn. She's 2 for 2. She's improved both times. This is a big step up, and I don't think she's a contender. But it's just interesting to note, just in general, whenever you see horses shipping over to California, They always. Richard Baltus had this for a few years. I think they bought some horses from the East Coast, and they ended up winning big races. I remember Jerry
turf races, Chad, especially the turf race.
Yeah, it's a for whatever reason the horses seem to improve going from east to west on the turf.
Well, I'm going to try to make some money on School Dance because I like. I mean, she ran her best race as soon as she made the trainer change to D'Amato, ran the 12. So it was also. I mean, the bounce to the 14, I'm not too worried about. Vasquez has been on board, the 2 wins. Why not? I don't really see any horse. Maybe it's the 9, but I don't really see a horse in this race that I'm really afraid of. So I think a long shot or a mild contender could win this race.
The good news is, in the spirit of the holidays here, the fact that you like both Ramon Vasquez's horses on this show that we picked, his jockey agent Billy Castle might send you a Starbucks gift card. So have that going for you.
Yeah, if he wins, we'll book him on the show.
There you go. He'll
I don't want him on the show. He won't stop talking. Go ahead.
Really?
An hour won't do it. You'll need 4 hours.
Okay. That's we got to do that then. All right.
I'll be calling in sick that day.
Okay. John, you're going all in on Brendan Walsh, the 6.
Yeah, I guess so. 100 to 1 on the 6.
And Chad, you're going to do $5 exacta box, 1579, and then 20 to win place on the 7.
That's the whole money.
And then I'm going to do $25 exacta box, 711.
Ooh, 7-11.
And I'm putting 25 to win on 7 and 11. Go Ramon Vasquez. All right.
I guess.
So
25 to win on each of them, right?
yes.
Good thing Bluegrass Dan picked you for next month.
Yeah. And Dan's a smart guy too.
So we will return next Thursday, back to our Thursday schedule, and Chad will be making the picks for the race coming up a week from Saturday, and probably Gulfstream Park. So it's probably what we're going to do. We're going to be recording our prediction show on Tuesday, so I'm not sure when that's coming out, but it should come out probably sometime middle of next week. Guys, appreciate it.
Stay safe. Well, everybody. Thank you.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Take care.